The Spanish Announce Table.
310 episodes deep, Tom, of the Spanish Announce Table. Whew. Do you think we'd make it this far?
No.
No. It's 6, maybe 10. 10 tops.
I honestly thought we'd probably get 6 episodes, 6 weeks. And then I was like, okay, we're done with this.
Probably when most people think we should have just stopped anyway.
Well, remember, actually, we had a good run up to 100 episodes. Then we started pissing people off. Remember, we got a cake. Justin gave us a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, so we had a good run.
It's true. Dustin Kaufman, yeah, they him and his wife, they baked us a cake, or his wife did, I think at the time. Dustin Kaufman, also owner of the Comedy Club of Kansas City, made the news here locally, was giving out free dinners to folks who, if you needed help with dinner or if you had nowhere to go, they were socially distanced, you know what I mean? Like active restaurant, they were doing the traditional Thanksgiving feast, so good for him, right? He had a good service he was doing for the community there, a friend of the show. But speaking of the Thanksgiving, that was yesterday. We normally record on Thursdays. You were ready to go. I was
ready.
Unable, right? Committed to the family stuff going on over here. So, Tom, it's Friday. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was a little stressful. So the typical traditional hanging out with my side of the family on Thanksgiving went by as expected. No big hiccups. You show up, you have a good lunch. It was enjoy some football, enjoy the National Dog Show. We watched some game shows as well. Then we went home. Then for Friday, I made a pork shoulder, the pork butt, which, fun fact, it's not a butt, it's the shoulder. I was making that for Emily's side of the family. And that cook takes about 8 hours, right? Mm-hmm. And so what ended up happening is I started the cook and I was like, oh, I'm fine. And because I've done not so many, but I've been doing a lot lately, I'm kind of getting into that phase of like, I know what to do, right? Step 1 to step 2 to step 3, we're done. Well, I kind of skipped a step because I was just so, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Didn't check my wood pellets because I have a wood pellet fire grill, and my wood pellets were close to 0. So at 9:30 at night on Thanksgiving night, I am driving around the entire Kansas City metro hoping to find 1, a store that was open, and 2, a store that sold the wood pellets. And I did not have that luxury. So what I ended up doing is I just said, fuck it. So luckily I got really, really fortunate in this situation. My recipe calls for a pork shoulder of 8 pounds. My pork shoulder was 4 pounds, which means I could cut the cook time in half. So actually it worked out perfect. Thank goodness, because I was fucked if I had an 8 pound.
Yeah. You could have just came out to the ranch. I don't know if we got the right kind of tree in here, but you could have got some wood pellets out here. You could have just came out and just chopped up some wood.
I tell you what, though, if anyone is a novice or interested in grilling and is looking into getting a grill, the Traeger, I cannot speak more highly of this Traeger grill. I should be a spokesperson. They should be sponsoring this show, honestly.
Reach out to them.
Yeah.
Reach out to
I
them.
tell
That's
you what,
you.
It makes me, people think that I'm a good cook now and they want me to cook for them. It's incredible.
Here's the idea, Tom. I just signed us up. I'm not live with it yet, but we have an Amazon affiliate link, right, which you can find at SpanishAnnounceTable.net, the newly redesigned SpanishAnnounceTable.net. There's an Amazon affiliate page where social media influencers can post product reviews and stuff like that, videos like that, and sales thereby. So maybe we'll set you up. You'll do a Spanish Announce Table grilling sesh.
Oh, easy.
I will eat it. And then, we'll try to sell these grills online. We'll get rich. We will get rich.
Right.
We'll get rich.
We won't. Yeah,
we'll get
won't.
like DiBiase rich.
Well, yeah, fake rich, where we take money from poor people because of fraud. Right. Anyhow.
That's Trump rich. What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Apples to apples. Same
Pro
thing.
wrestling.
Yeah. Same. No, but we should do that because you know what? I have a really good smoked queso recipe. Fits with the Spanish Announce Table.
And I like
that's
smoked.
a good idea. Let's do that. Let's do a fun episode of that. Look at that. Let's just workshop some ideas on air. So
we'll sell some grills.
Yeah, there you go. So anyhow, that was my Thanksgiving. Pretty cut and dry, except for we did have the scare.
I know why you skipped a step. Because you were thinking about this podcast, and I don't blame you, man. This podcast is going to be great. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We do, and we actually have a lot of great content. So as Tim mentioned, visit SpanishAnnounceTable.net. I put out a new TikTok video of the 3 best kings in WWE, WWF history. So check that out. Let me know what you think. We're putting out content there. We're also putting out content on Twitter. We've got some polls that we're going to read to you throughout this podcast episode. So yeah, check out our website for all the links to all the fun social media. But let's get started with our favorite weekly show, AEW Dynamite. You want to do a quick recap for our Thanksgiving Day episode? All right. So we had AEW Dynamite kick off with a singles match. Hangman Adam Page taking on the Dark Order, John Silver 4 or John 4 Silver. I don't know what we're calling him, but it was a fun match. Hangman Adam Page gets the win. Tim, what did you think of this opening contest? So from the very start, I like John Silver. I don't like John Silver in the Dark Order. This is not a Dark Order if they're a jokester group that's yucking it up in the back, right? And then I really don't want Hangman Adam Page involved at all with a group of Santinos. I don't want that going on either. So I don't know what that's about. So I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Hangman Adam Page gets the victory using the buckshot lariat. Post-match, though, Evil Uno, not Mr. Brody Lee, Evil Uno tries to recruit Hangman Adam Page to the Dark Order, says, if you're trying to leave a group and they don't let you, that sounds like a cult to me, which I did like that line in that point because he said, I was trying to leave the Elite. Yeah. What is, right? So I did like that aspect of trying to get him to buy into the Dark Order. Yeah. But to your point, Hangman Adam Page is bigger than the Dark Order. Unless Hangman Adam Page feuds with Brody Lee, there should be no real affiliation. My hope is that maybe this flirtation from Hangman Adam Page gets the attention of the Young Bucks, and then that rekindles their friendship, something to that extent where they're like, hey, I know we're not good, but don't do that. No, let's talk it out, And then we get a 6-man tag of Hangman Adam Page taking on, 10 John Silver and Brody Lee, something like that. I would be okay with that. But I agree with you. I don't necessarily want Hangman Adam Page to be another foot soldier. It was cool when they did it with Colt Cabana, but then that's kind of went the way of just week in, week out, rinse repeat, where Colt Cabana just is this, he doesn't necessarily know what's going on kind of thing. Like that's getting old.
How is he not the jokester of the group if they've gone into a high school prankster group? Like what the fuck are we talking about? I don't get it. They've made no sense of this storyline at all.
Yeah, it's getting a little convoluted. Colt Cabana had some high hopes for that scene where he would go, but then it's kind of just been, he plays along.
Colt Cabana.
And that's great, but he's just playing along as if he doesn't know what's happening, and that you can only do that for so many weeks until you have to pull the trigger and say, like, do you know what the fuck's going on, or are you a part of this? You know what I'm saying? So,
by the way, do you ever wonder why the term is Dark Order there, Colt?
Right, exactly. By the way, before we go any farther with the recap of AEW Dynamite, describe to me your background for the YouTube listeners. You can see you're in a special area. Where are you?
I'm just hanging out in a ballroom with some friends of mine. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the ECW arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
or Hammerstein Ballroom. That's what I should say.
Correct, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hang out in a ballroom with some of my rowdy friends, right? We like to get down with all my rowdy friends here in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Yeah, I'm on the road again. Coming out, we're going to watch a show. Word is somebody's going to get hung up on a cross, I guess. I hopped in the Spanish Announce time machine. I like to bounce around,
Oh, is Kurt Angle there?
There's somebody famous is here.
Wow.
Somebody famous is here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, tell everyone I said hello, and hopefully they all social distance. Doesn't look like it from the
time machine. COVID isn't here, right? Maybe I'm bringing it to them. Maybe I'm bringing it to them. Maybe I
accelerate this, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Oh, no. So, yeah, for the audio-only listeners, we love to have you. You are our bread and butter. You are our foundation, our rock. But if you like to see what's going on here, if you like to see where I'm at, if you like to see some of the funny faces Tom makes when he's angry, which he will get angry, I promise you
All the
tonight,
time.
he's going to get angry.
All the time.
Then check us out on the YouTube show. Again, the SpanishAnnounceTable.net. We did redesign that a little bit, and it's up. It's fresh, it's hot, it's new, but that's got all of the links you're going to need. If you want to find the YouTube, you want to find the podcast subscription, you want to find our shop, you want to find our Amazon affiliate link, right? You want to find our donate button, which you can donate to us. All that stuff's up there, SpanishAnnounceTable.net, including the YouTube. Check us out. Tom, looks like you got a fresh haircut, looking clean, looking fresh. I'm hanging out in the ballroom. It's a good time is had by all, but what we're here to do is talk about, I got everybody to stay quiet for a while here at the ballroom, which is a rough task. Let me tell you, these people are a little
Mission
testy.
accomplished.
These people are a
Mission
little
accomplished.
testy. Let's get back to the AEW recap. They don't know what AEW is, so nobody wants to talk about that.
That makes sense. I get it. Hey, so the next match, post Will Hangman join or not, we got to see Will Hobbs, but the debut of Powerhouse Hobbs. And before we get into the match recap, I do want to ask you, Tim, what do you think of the name, the new name, Powerhouse Hobbs? Are you a fan or no?
I am, because it's way cooler than just Will Hobbs. Like I like Powerhouse Hobbs because I like it because we did know it was Will Hobbs, right? If you introduce the guy as Powerhouse Hobbs, I might be a little bit like, what a dork,
right?
But now I'm like, oh, that's better. So I like that, and he plays the role, right? Here comes the Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh
yeah, I like it. I'm a fan. We'll see how well they use it.
I think I'm a fan of Will Powerhouse Hobbs. Very similar to how Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Triple H was then known as The Game. You could say The Game Triple H or The Game Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I like Powerhouse as a nickname of the wrestling nickname, if that makes sense. But we did a poll on our Spanish Announce Table at Table Show on Twitter, split right down the middle, 50-50. I said, are you a fan of the new name Powerhouse Hobbs? 50% said yes, 50% said no.
I think the Nasty Boys would have had a much better career if he would have went with Powerhouse Knobs.
I agree. Nasty Boys would have had a better career if they had better physiques too. They could have lasted longer,
If they had talent.
Look like goddamn loaves of bread out there trying to do tag team wrestling. Anyhow, Powerhouse Hobbs took on Lee Johnson. He gets the essentially squash match victory, but then post match, let's get into it. This is in my opinion the highlight of the show. Taz was on commentary, putting over Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs looked like $1 million, gets the victory. We're all doing great. Taz grabs a microphone, paraphrasing here, says to the crowd and to the executives at AEW, hey, you assholes, I have this FTW championship. It's time that you motherfuckers take this serious. And if you don't take it serious, I'm not leaving this ring. He gets so upset. Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, actually leaves the ring because Taz says, I got some business that doesn't necessarily need you here. So, great job, but you can rest up a little bit.
Bricks. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in the nicest way possible. It wasn't a heel turn on Powerhouse, but this is an executive promo here. So I need the whole ring to myself.
Right.
Anyhow, he just shit talks how AEW is not taking him serious or the belt serious. It has a lineage going back to ECW at the Hammerstein Ballroom where you're currently at. And it brings out Cody. Cody does the whole, this is a real thing to me. He's on headset, takes off the headset, comes into the ring, and this is where it gets good, right? Now we're getting, hey, to make you happy, Taz, next week it'll be me and Darby Allin taking on Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. And Taz is like, fuck off. Like, that's not good enough. That's not where this ends. Take this belt serious. And then Cody drops a hammer on fucking Taz's head and says, hey, if this is, this belt has such great lineage and you're just this awesome pro wrestler and this awesome pro wrestler teacher, why is your fucking kid training at my school? And Taz, that's when he said, you've crossed the line, motherfucker. Now, I don't know if he said motherfucker, but he got in his face and said, you crossed the line. They didn't go on mics to say this. They went off mic. It was face to face. Highly uncomfortable. Cody does the number one thing you're not supposed to do, turns his back on Taz, and we get to see the Taz mission that we haven't seen probably since 2002, I would assume. Because again, we don't fact check. Taz chokes out Cody. He then powders out as people come to break it up. What did you think of this incredible segment?
Man, they were firing on all cylinders. Whatever they tapped into, man, it felt like they wanted to it felt like Taz was going to murder him.
And as he should.
Like he was going to shank him with a pin in his neck.
This is an interesting storyline because both men have valid points, right? Because Cody's saying, hey, cool, Taz, we love you here. Have whatever fucking belt you want. But we have real belts.
Yeah, you brought it from your house, dude.
We have real belts here. It's the World Championship. It's the TNT Championship, Tag Champs, Women's Championship. It's not this fucking thing. Taz on his side is like, right, but Taz on his side is saying, look, we want to add credibility to a new company. You know what adds credibility? A title that has lineage before this company even fucking existed. Where do you go, right? Both sides have valid points. But then this is the part that I found interesting. The babyface breaks the fourth wall and says, why is your kid training in my school if you're supposed to be so fucking good? That's not something you cheer.
Right.
So what do we do? What happens here? What do you think happens?
I mean, I think we're gonna get this Nightmare Family versus FTW feud is where this ultimately goes. I think it'll leave us wanting a little more, but I don't know, because I think maybe Cody gets the FTW title for a while as like a little and then something happens. Maybe one of the Nightmare Family turns on him. Maybe
that's
Dustin joins the FTW.
Or do we just, because one other quick detail about this segment is at the very end, Hook, which I don't know if that's his wrestling name or his real shoot name, Hook grabs the FTW championship and leaves with Taz. So Taz's son leaves with him after this segment ends. So do we see almost not like a who's the father kind of thing, but where does your allegiance lie? And this all becomes around the son? Or do we see Team Taz almost take a baby face look? It's us against the world. These motherfuckers never wanted us. See how they're treating us. And then the Nightmare Family's like, yeah, fuck you. We've got all the power. We got all the money. We're the fucking best. Shut up. Like, we have some angles we can go here. So I'm very interested.
One of pro wrestling's royal families. You're not.
Exactly. So I like where this is going. This is a good eye-catching segment, a very fun promo. Cody does these really well. Go back if you rewind a couple weeks ago when the lady interrupted him. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Cantrell. What's her first name?
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill. Yeah. Not even close. Nailed it. But when Jade interrupted him, he does the I'm an executive. Everyone calm down. We're good. We're good here. Oh, fuck, we're not good here. Then something happens. He does that really well. And he did it again in this segment as on top of that last one. I'm interested. Winter is coming next week. This I don't know, special event for AEW Dynamite. I don't know what winter is coming. My wife tells me it has something to do with Game of Thrones. I never watched that, but apparently it has something to do with that.
I don't think I've seen a trailer. I don't think I've seen a snippet. I don't think I've seen like a Tonight Show where they showed a clip. None of it, and I have zero interest. Nice. Anyway.
Oh, you're right. No, I feel the same way because fantasy gets a little bit far-fetched for me. I do remember walking in as my wife was watching a scene, and their two characters were kissing, and I was like, who are they? And then she described that they were brother and sister, and I was like, I'm fucking out. You don't have to make that up. Nope. You don't have to make up incest. It's not accurate. It's not factual. You don't have to write that in. You don't have to do it.
To make that up. Yeah, you don't have to make that up. That's a weird storyline.
Yep. Why did you do that? I'm out. Sorry. Bye-bye. So anyhow.
So Katie Vick.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's move on, right?
Yeah. So then we got 2 weeks in a row. This is being the second week of that 2 weeks. We saw Top Flight. They took on the Hybrid 2. This was a fun match. The Hybrid 2 picks up the victory after a submission over Top Flight. I don't know necessarily where this is going to, lead to post-match. We did see Top Flight getting the boots taken to him, and Young Bucks comes out and saves him. I don't know, is this big brother, little brother, where the Young Bucks kind of look after Top Flight until they get their feet underneath them. It was a good match for what it was. I don't know if I was the target audience for this segment.
I didn't feel like that either. Again, we've discussed our, this is not our cup of tea, this kind of wrestling. But I could say, again, Top Flight it's like I said last week, they're good for their position in wrestling. What I see, for these guys' age, how long they've been doing this, they're good. They can hold their own. They're in there with top names and don't look out of place. But I don't see anything that's like, oh my God, you guys gotta see this, man. I can't believe these guys are the next big thing. I don't see anything like that. It's cool. The tag team division, they just keep adding to this swollen. We're going to need a mid-card tag team titles, which I don't know. Has anybody done that?
I think New Japan Pro Wrestling, don't they have the juniors? They have the junior
you might be right.
Something.
Yep.
I don't know. Probably.
But in U.S. television, I don't recall it in my lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me clarify my statement with that, because I agree with what you're saying, where this wasn't my cup of tea. And for me, this wasn't the segment that was geared towards my type of wrestling. While I stand behind that statement, I also want to say, it didn't make me want to turn the channel. It was very good wrestling. It was just nothing made me invested. I understand. And I also will say it was refreshing to see, hey, this brand new tag team on the scene already has a storyline. It's not just, and then they're in another match. It's like, why the fuck are they just wrestling? Have something that they're doing here. So I will give them credit that at least it was the Hybrid 2 who attacked him the week previous after their match with the Young Bucks. Here we're getting the payoff. It was good. It made sense. It was coherent. So kudos to AEW for keeping a tag team on television, but it making sense and having some story built around all the flips. Next up was another tag team match. We had SCU taking on Chris Jericho and Jake Hager of the Inner Circle. First time ever Chris Jericho and Christopher Daniels were in a matchup together. What did you think about that? Just fun fact to the side.
That was an insane stat to hear, because they said it was nearly 60 years of combined wrestling experience, and they've been in the same circles at times, they said, and this is the first time. That was kind of cool. It made little things like that can make you go, oh, I should watch this now. Because normally I might have been like, yeah, okay, I'm doing this over here also, but that made me kind of clue into the start of this. I like that. This was cool. Man, SCU, talk about the Fountain of Youth old dudes, right? Like the dads who can ball and stuff like that at the gym. These guys, what have they figured out? Are they drinking baby blood or something? What's going on here? These guys are like, they don't stop.
Yeah, they're incredible. If you were to just put them, you know how you could do the creative characters and the moves, but it just shows you a computer simulation. If they were the ones that had all the dots on them, they look like Top Flight. I mean, maybe not to the extent of their athleticism, but they're doing all the same moves, and they've been doing all the same moves for 30 years. It's just astronomical how.
And they don't look as old as they are either. Frankie Kazarian looks like he could still be making box office movies if he wasn't a terrible actor, but he's just gosh.
Yeah, it was really good. The other part about this match that I really liked is now we got to see almost the Inner Circle feel NWO-esque, where it was just so many people ringside. So you had Ortiz and MJF and Wardlow and Santana and Sammy Guevara. And it was like, is this the new fucking NWO just taking over?
Though, because you said we talked about this, I think last week or week before, when you were like, hey, okay, this is jumping the shark. You got to give me a reason to think why are you a dominant group now? Why are you? And this was it. What are you going to do when every side of the ring's got two dudes hanging out on it to beat you up? What are you going to do? It's a lumberjack match every time you go up against anybody in the Inner Circle.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was looking for is, okay, you're doing the Vegas trips, you're doing the town halls, you're doing the singing in a dinner setting, all of that stuff. Awesome, cool. But I also have to know why you're this top flight, no pun intended, top flight heel faction in AEW. And this, again, like you said, proves it. We saw MJF use his diamond ring to knock, I think it was Christopher Daniels in the face. You still had fucking, their nuclear option was Wardlow, who didn't even really get involved, he was just like, I can fuck anyone up here. Don't believe me? Motherfuckers. And it's like, God damn. If you can't get past Sammy Guevara, fucking Wardlow's next? No way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this was good to show that, again, the Inner Circle is that group. Watch out. I liked it. This was really good. Post-match, we did see a backstage interview where Chris Jericho announced that he will be taking on Kazarian next week for the Winter is Coming AEW Dynamite episode, which is going to be fine and it's going to be fun. One thing I did like is how MJF was yelling about something that SCU did. And he's like, who would ever do something like that? And you see Ortiz in the background, like, you would totally do that, you asshole. Like, he's still fuck that guy.
Yeah, right.
I like the little subtleties.
Yeah.
And again, that backstage promo had Hager and Wardlow not taking their eyes off of each other. They stay consistent with the details, and that still keeps me bought in on the Inner Circle.
Well, that's the thing that makes things cool, because it's like, otherwise you'd be bored and tuning out. Mm-hmm. But when you're like, right, it's still these motherfuckers about to fuck it up, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, the big blow off when that comes, when it's some big match, some big 4-on-4, 5-on-5, something in there in the ring or something, and like they're just gonna like stare at each other and they're just gonna fucking go at it, right? Jericho's gonna have to break it up, like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys, right? Like, that's gonna be fun.
That is gonna be fun. After this match and after that promo, again, we're not going strictly chronological order, jumping around to where it makes sense, but we did get the contract signing part 2 of Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. But before we got to the contract signing, we did get a promo from Eddie Kingston just talking about what he has coming up in the main event. But that segment was finished with Jon Moxley just getting into the face of Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston going, you motherfucker, you know it wasn't me. You know exactly who did it. I got my own problems. Fucking go be the champ. And Jon Moxley's like, okay. Essentially, that stare off was just, right, it wasn't you. And it was like, it wasn't me. It was like, all right, then I definitely know who it was. Because it could have been Eddie Kingston, right? He did have beef with him. Made him say I quit, all of that stuff. Those feelings are still raw.
Could have been taking it wrong, right? Yeah,
exactly. So I like that. I like that Jon Moxley was, dotting his I's and crossing his T's, where he was saying, like, I'm about to fuck Kenny Omega up. But before I do, I just want to make sure it wasn't you, right?
Right, yeah,
like, that was really cool. I like that.
I kicked your ass when we're done, right? Like, he's like, yeah, man, fuck, get out of here, man. We'll meet again, right? Like, right. All right, cool. And I the Kenny Omega. Was this about the same time when he did the Alex Marvez interview? Yes, he did the Alex Marvez interview, which ended with the most classic bullshit line of all time of, yeah, your dad's pretty tough. I bet you my dad could kick your dad's ass. What in the fuck is that all about? I love it. I popped so hard for that. That was so fun because, like, his whole promo, promo interview segment, whatever you want to call it, was going great. I was like, this is good. This is some of the best, again, that I've seen Omega on AEW TV. And then, like, he's leaving it, and I was like, that was really good. That was really good. And then he comes back and lays that, and I was like, okay, that's fucking fun. That's fun. Well, that's something that's something you would have told, you know what I mean? You would have made fun of somebody on this show, and I was like, all right, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and also the way he delivered it, too, because it wasn't like this snot-nosed kid hiding behind, Hager and Wardlow saying, like, I'll kick your ass. It was just hey, by the way, before I leave, by the way, I think your dad's a pussy. Yeah, I think my dad can kick your dad's ass. I think he's a pussy. See ya. It was just it was almost a throwaway line where he didn't even need to say it, but he just said it just to grind that in just a little bit more. Like, right before I go, I forgot to mention, you said something about your dad. Like that was heartwarming, but he seems, yeah. God,
Yeah,
that
he's
was
a
so
bitch.
good.
I think he's a bitch. Yeah,
My dad
I
could
loved
be-
it.
Yeah, it was a unique way to bring in the my dad could beat up your dad. It was so good. That showed
Very
a lot of,
well done.
That showed a lot of like Kenny Omega, the guy, right? Whatever his real name is, right? Had to sit there and go like, all right, I'm gonna work it, and he talked about his dad. I'm gonna work in that my dad could beat his dad up. Here's how I'm gonna do it, and that's pristine. That's good stuff.
Thought it was great. So then now we get to the segment of the contract signing part 2. Kenny Omega getting, again, this long-winded intro with the cleaner girls. And in the silhouette, as we see Kenny Omega waiting to make his big entrance, we see Jon Moxley, I don't know, maybe doing 2 lines of coke. He kind of did this weird thing where it looked like he snorted some coke.
I think he did his...
I like coke better. I think 2 lines of coke is a little bit better for me to think of.
He already did that before he showed up to the arena, Tom. He lives on that stuff, right? He sprinkles it on his
chasing the dragon. Chasing that dragon. So yeah, Jon Moxley jumps him. I did like the silhouette of Jon Moxley standing behind Kenny Omega, then that brawling into the ringside
nice
area.
touch.
And Jon Moxley just puts the boots to him, takes him out, gives him the paradigm shift, and then cuts again another one of these promos where Jon Moxley's like, one day someone's going to beat me. It could be you. It's not going to be, but it could be. But guess what? Come with all your fucking bullets because I'm coming with my best gun. And it was just, and I'm paraphrasing that obviously, but it was just this genuine, like, don't try to fucking jump me. Like, if you're going to jump me, finish the job. Now I'm fucking pissed. I'm going to beat the shit out of you this time around.
You're right. There is a formula there, but it's a good formula if you can keep finding different ways to say it to different people, which he has so far, right? So it hasn't felt like, okay, it isn't like and that's the bottom line.
Right.
So I like it. I like that that's his stance, right? That's kind of the Moxley character. He's like, hey, look, I know, like, we're not winning everything, right? Like, if some shit happens, somebody's going to nail me in the nuts once in a while, and I'm not going to be able to answer the 10. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to lose some of these, but, like, it will not be because I didn't try to claw your fucking eyeballs out on the way down. So let's go. Like, I liked that about the Moxley character. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very relatable, very believable for someone in the championship position that he's in, where everyone's gunning for him, and essentially telling Kenny Omega, hey, if you're not going to count the last loss to me because it was an Extreme Rules match or however they phrased it, then you're not going to beat me by this fucking bullshit. And it was just,
well, he even
it
told
made
me,
me
he was
believe,
like, cut out the garbage wrestling for once. I was like, whoa, that's a, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, that's a rough dig, like, industry-wide to say. I was like, that's a, woo. I was like, you might get some heat for that promo.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought the build for this, even though it seems quick because the match is next Wednesday night, I feel with the reputation of both of these guys, it was the appropriate amount of time. And after this segment, I was bought in. Jon Moxley signs the contract, so now it's official. Next week, winter is coming, the main event for the AEW Championship. Champion Jon Moxley taking on #1 contender Kenny Omega. This match is going to be great.
So it's next week. Tom, make a pick.
It's going to be Kenny Omega. I think this is the time where maybe Jon Moxley, if we're peeking behind the curtain, and again, I don't believe in that Dave Meltzer stuff, but just he brought it to our attention that his wife is pregnant. I don't know how far along that is.
Well, she's been on Twitter talking about like sore boobs and stuff. So, I mean, she's not like newly pregnant either, right?
Right, exactly.
Don't know how long, but.
Right. So I can see this match. And also, take that aside, right? Peeking behind the curtain, I think maybe he's going to take some time off to be a father, right? Going to take some paternity leave, as he should. Right. Jerk off, be there for a child. They can't even fucking talk or work.
You a pro wrestler or a dad? Jesus, dude.
God. Pick one.
No, congratulations.
Exactly. Yeah, by all means. Keep on having those kids.
Renee, right?
Yep. Yeah. By all means. You have those kids. I won't. Good for you. But storyline wise, I think, as he keeps alluding to, one of these days, someone's going to beat me. And it may just be that I'm at the end of my line. I took on everyone. I took on Brody Lee. I took on Jake Hager. I won the belt from Chris Jericho. You know, all of these challengers, all of these top level talents. And eventually that was my day. And then I think we need a heel champion again. We had Chris Jericho be the Inner Circle champion to establish the belt. Then we had Jon Moxley as your everyday man to get everyone behind the belt and give it some prestige. Now I think we need the Kenny Omega holier than thou. Maybe that's a less than ideal description, but that I'm the fucking man here. But I'm going to cheat every time to win, but I'm the fucking man here kind of reign.
It's kind of like an early Miz when he went with the I'm Awesome guy, like where it was like, wait a minute, you're a scumbag. You barely win. You shouldn't win. You know what I mean? But like, you've got a killer move or two in here that'll put somebody out. You're not terrible. You know what I mean? Kenny Omega's got a little bit more cred behind him than the Miz did, but that kind of style of heel, right? That whole like sleazeball, do everything but act like I'm just the purest, you know what I mean, best in the world. Right.
Well, very similar to what I think his championship reign could be is if you go back a few years ago when Chris Jericho was the champion in WWE and he was that well-dressed in a suit and tie every time. He was doing the like, of course I'm champion material. Look at me. But then every time he'd wrestle, like, you motherfucker, you hit him with a low blow, you dickhead, you know? So that's my prediction. I got Kenny Omega. I assume you agree with me there?
Yeah, of course.
Of course you should agree with me. Everyone should agree with me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I always agree with you, Tom.
Yeah. All right. After the contract signing, we got a world championship match where women's champion Sheeta took on Dark Order 99, Anna J or Anna 99J. Again, I don't know how to fucking say these names. This was actually pretty good. I like the promo package leading into it. Got me to buy into it a little bit more. I like the Tay Conti, I believe is how you say her name, on the outside with the chair. Her and Anna Jay, they're best friends, but one's obviously a heel, one's obviously a babyface. Where does that go? It had some good tentacles to it, as they say.
Right.
I was a big fan of this match.
Yeah, it was entertaining. The physicality was good. Like you said, there was the little snippets of side stories going on. Like you said, well-rounded. This is not the glaring hole as the women's division that it used to be.
It's getting better
over the last several weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's getting better. Also, post-match, this was another thing I was a big fan of, is as soon as Sheeta wins and she gets the championship, you see Tay Conti and Anna Jay leave together. So again, where does that storyline go? Because Anna Jay could blame her for not giving her the chair that could have won her the championship, all of that stuff, right? Sheeta gets out of the ring with the championship. She's all good. And then I'm going to butcher this name because I'm still not 1,000,000% certain on how to say it, but is it Abaddon?
I think it's Abaddon. Yeah.
She looks like the girl from The Ring, doesn't she? Those scary movies?
Yeah, so that's it. So with characters like this, right? Same thing when The Undertaker came out, right? And when, Abyss and whatever, right?
Kane.
I need a solid storyline to get behind it. Same reason we don't like Game of Thrones. Same reason we're not sci-fi guys. It's weird for me that Abaddon, this, like you said, looks like a character from The Ring, is just also a person that's just like, no, I want the title, so I'm just going to hit you when you're not looking. Well, wait a minute. Like, you aren't you a tentacle girl? You know what I mean? Something's weird here. Like, it's a weird storyline for me when there's not something backing it that's also kind of creepy and almost horror film-ish, right? Which is hard to pull off throughout a whole career. So I always am leery about these kind of characters. But yeah, I mean, here's a new character in play, so that's of note.
Yeah, and I will say credit to AEW for getting a character and putting that type of character in the women's division. As we've talked about, Abyss, Kane, Mankind, Undertaker, those are all men. There's so few women outside of I'm pretty.
Shockmaster.
Yeah, Shockmaster. Again, where's the Shockmaster in the women's division? But like, it's always I'm pretty or I'm not pretty or I'm this or I'm this. And there's not enough variety in women's pro wrestling for me to really go like, I like women's pro wrestling. Abaddon, at least, is a curveball in that hey, I'm pretty. Well, I'm pretty too. Well, I'm a mean pretty girl. Okay, who the fuck cares? We're all saying the same fucking shit now, you know? I did like how she kind of bled or spit up blood. I don't know what the fuck it was. Put that on that title. She'd have sold her ass off with being scared to her wit's end. Great for her. That was an awesome job of selling to make Abaddon seem like a legit threat. Because you could easily just take a girl crawling and like, what the, look at her and like, what the fuck is that?
Just kind of like put your foot on her forehead and just kind of push her back. Like, get out of here, weirdo.
Hey, dork. Who's the nerd crawling?
Damn. I hope you don't got the Rona. Ugh.
Right, exactly. So it was cool. And at least we get something now to look forward to next week. Hopefully it happens next week, at least with some type of storyline. Not necessarily a match, but we've got something to look forward to because usually Sheeta wins and Sheeta wins. You know, that's what usually has been happening.
Sheeta wins.
Exactly. So I will say credit to her and credit to the writing team for giving her something to do immediately post-match. All right. And now we get to our main event because, of course, the women have to go right before the main event each and every week on Dynamite. But in the main event, we got a tag team match. The Butcher and the Blade taking on Pac and Rey Fenix. And then Eddie Kingston was again on commentary. Pac and Rey Fenix, I mean, every flip in the world they can do 10 times with their eyes closed. Butcher and the Blade fucking scare me still. I like that. What did you think of this match?
Does the Blade eat any carbs? You think he like?
I don't think he eats carbs. I don't think he knows how to spell carbs. I think he likes weird sex and fucking protein.
Well, the fucking protein is the weird sex.
There you go. Full circle. Full circle.
Yeah, the match, though, again, you're talking about some of the most active, energetic, hard-hitting folks in this company, let alone the business. This match was bound to be good, right?
Yeah, it was really good. It checked all the boxes for what you want in a main event match to keep the audience intrigued and staying tuned through commercial breaks, things of that nature. We did see post-match. Oh, first off, Butcher and the Blade beat Phoenix and Pac. But then we saw post-match Lance Archer come to the aid of the Death Triangle. Little weird there. What did you think of that?
Interesting. I like it if Lance Archer is just going to take the stance of like, hey, anytime you two start fuck off. It's about me. You just shut up. You get out. You get out. Somebody give me the fucking, like kind of what Taz was doing, right? Like, albeit you have Taz doing that right now. So it's interesting. It's weird. Is there a bit more of a twist to try to start a fan likening of Lance Archer and Jake Roberts?
Yeah, I would have, if I could have done this segment, if I was had the pen or the pencil, as they say, or whatever it is, I would have said, do everything the same, but give Jake Roberts the microphone as he's walking out to give voice to why Lance Archer is doing this. So Lance Archer goes after Eddie Kingston. Commentary tried to say they still have a beef going back to the Battle Royale that happened where Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston were 1 and 2, and Eddie says he actually was never defeated, so that pisses off Lance Archer, yada, yada, yada. But have Jake Roberts say that to us and the audience, where Eddie, you piece of shit, we're going to kick your ass wherever you go. We're going to be there with the fist in your face. Like, have Jake Roberts give the story of why Lance Archer is there, because Lance Archer clears the ring. Okay. Like you said, is this a babyface turn? You got Jake Roberts yelling back there. What the fuck is he saying? We don't know because we can't hear him. So I would have just had Jake Roberts give voice to Eddie, you son of a bitch. And then Eddie's like, God damn it, I got another person. I'm starting to enjoy also the underlying tone of like, everyone fucking hates Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tony Schiavone and him.
Oh, that's great.
Money. I like that Tony Schiavone is just like, you know what? You're a dick. And you know what? We're going to talk about it. Like, you're an asshole.
Well, and Eddie, to his credit, one thing that I like about him as a heel in AEW so far is he doesn't shy away from it. He's like, yeah, Yeah. Like when John Moxley was like, do you realize why you've done all these things? Why would you do such horrible things? And he's like, yeah, I do horrible things. It's to get to this spot, dum-dum. Like, he's never running away from the fact that he is this asshole that everyone thinks he is. That is a really cool attribute to his character. But I do enjoy this. Tony Schiavone on commentary calls him a dick. He's doing a backstage promo. John Moxley's making sure he didn't actually jump him because he thinks he's a dick. Obviously, he has this beef with Pac. Yeah. And then Lance Archer comes in. It's like everyone fucking hates Eddie.
Anytime something like somebody gets wronged, backstabbed, and there's a little bit of a whodunit, if they always were like, look at Eddie Kingston first, and he's like, no, man. And they're like,
I was out of town.
And they're kind of like, yeah, you're probably, yeah. But I'm keeping my eye on you. But it was probably Crazy Steve over here or whatever whoever they've got over there now, you know?
Yeah, every time there's a whodunit or every time there's some type of, well, who would do this to me during the match? You write out your top 5 suspects, and number 3 is always Eddie Kingston. No one has. It could be like a conspiracy
female
theory
storyline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Britt Baker, remember when she was doing her conspiracy theory where it was like the whole everyone's against me? She could have wrote like Tony Khan number 1, number 2 Sheeta, number 3 Eddie Kingston, number 4 Nyla Rose. Like it's just like Eddie's always Eddie someone. Kingston. Yeah.
Well, and he always understands. He's like, it wasn't me, man. And like I know what you're thinking. Like I probably would. But I didn't need to. This time I was over at the supermarket getting some prosciutto, right? Like,
right, yeah.
It's like, I was good.
I love it, yeah. They need to start almost, the opposite of everybody loves Raymond to everybody hates Eddie.
And then when he's like, nah, man, it wasn't me this time. I mean, I probably would, right? But I was at the store getting prosciutto. Like I said, he's like, but listen, if you need me to get him back, right? $50,
right,
I can go take it.
I know where he stays.
Christ, you're a scumbag. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Please do that. Yes.
Right. That would be perfect. Yeah. I just like that underlying tone where the sins of Eddie Kingston always comes to bite him in the ass. As soon as he thinks he has the upper hand on Pac, fucking Lance Archer comes back from his past and tries to kick his ass. It's just really cool storytelling. So that was AEW Dynamite. We did run a poll on this as well. We said, what grade would you give tonight's AEW? We gave A, B, C, or D. D got 0%. C got 7% of the vote. B got 14% of the vote. And overwhelmingly, 79% of the vote was A for what grade would you give AEW Dynamite?
I would agree with that too. I'd give it an A. I thought it was a good show, and I think more people should vote in these polls at Table Show on Twitter.
Yeah, and for AEW Dynamite episodes, we live tweet during the episodes, so feel free to interact with us either using @TableShow or #TweetTheTable. We check both, and let us know your any and every wrestling thought about Dynamite or anything else, because during this time when we were live tweeting about AEW Dynamite, came to my attention that Kevin Owens was doing the KO show on NXT, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But going back to AEW Dynamite, I would give this a B. I thought it was really good, but and to its credit, it did a great job getting me ready for next week's Winter is Coming. So you had the highlight for me of Taz putting the Taz mission on Cody. I'm a Taz mark, so of course. Eddie Kingston was on my television, so it's never going to be a bad episode when that happens. It actually happened twice. Kenny Omega, John Moxley was done really well. The subtlety of the Inner Circle is this real group that wants to fuck everyone up. I like that as well. But I think everything got me ready for this coming Wednesday with the title match, Taz and Cody, what happens with that. So I would give this a B just because I think the A that I'm anticipating is going to happen next week for the Winter is Coming episode.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. And by the way, as Tom mentioned, we're at Table Show on Twitter. Use the #TweetTheTable because later in the show, as we're going to do each week, we're going to read some of the best of those on the show. And I've got about 10 of them picked out, Tom, to rapid fire through for you. And we've got an email for the show, too. You can also email tableshow@gmail.com. Everything else is branded some version of Spanish Announce Table, but tableshow at Twitter, tableshow@gmail.com. Those are the first two things we started this show with 7 some years ago. So AEW, though, man, yeah, that was a good show. But what we also had Survivor Series and some other Raw stuff. We need to get into all that, huh?
Yeah, so Survivor Series you can check out on our YouTube channel. I did an instant reaction. I'm going to be honest with you. This was Survivor Series, that is, was very pedestrian. I don't think anything was bad. I don't think anything made me want to stop watching necessarily, but I'm not going to go back and watch anything. Maybe the Undertaker stuff, just a wrap up of what Undertaker was. Cause that promo package was done really well. The promo package after Vince McMahon, but before Undertaker, they do those better than anyone probably ever. So I might watch that again. But other than that, Survivor Series was very forgettable for me.
I agree. And the Undertaker stuff, I'm going to swing here and get some heat, but I could have done without it. This is 10 years too late.
Mm-hmm.
At tops, I mean, it should have ended with the damn Triple H Shawn Michaels storyline. That whole, when they had their 4 or 5 year run of stuff, should have ended there. Should have ended then at Brock Lesnar. Should have, so many times. So should have ended with Roman. It shouldn't have been. He should have been beat by Brock Lesnar, and he should have maybe been beat by Roman Reigns or something, right? Like if we knew we were building Reigns as the guy, but we saw it in his little, documentary. He was chasing for the perfect moment and never found it, right? Because he set the bar too high for himself. And sorry, dude, that's what you're left with. And now you did this thing, and it's still kind of like, we've got some tweet the tables about it. We'll get into that one probably a little more, but I mean, the rest of the show. Just like you said, nothing bad. Nothing was like, oh my God, this was a stinker. Nothing was like, this was amazing.
Right. I think there was some good highlights that made me stay invested in the show. New Day versus Street Profits was a good, passing of the torch type match, I think. And that was very entertaining. You got to see the Street Profits get a clean victory over the New Day. That was okay. But yeah, there was no advancements of storylines unless you want to dive a little bit deeper into certain aspects. For example, you had Seth Rollins, and again, we're recording this on a Friday night, so we're not seeing SmackDown currently. So maybe this is being addressed, but Seth Rollins sacrificed himself for the match. I don't know why.
He says for the greater good, and then they're all like, what? And then he turns around and he yells at, I forget who it was. Was it Keith Lee? Or he was like, do your part. And they were like, fuck it. And just beat him up, took the
Sheamus. Sheamus gave him the bro kick. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, it makes sense because now he's going to go in and have a martyr, a self-martyr thing probably, if I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you just take a count out? Why did you have to get kicked in the face? That made zero sense.
Because it's self-martyr, right? I like this clean sweep idea. And I like that it was Jey Uso at the end and just couldn't quite win. And then later they're like, you let us down. He's like, I was... you know what I mean? What was I going to do?
It was 5-on-1.
And they're like, if you can't fucking match up, you're out of the family, right? I love that. I love that little nugget. So, yeah, you're right. There was moments that led to things. It's just weird that this is supposed to be one of the big four, quote unquote. We've argued that it's lost its stature, and Money in the Bank probably replaces it. But, yeah, it just kind of felt like this was more of a transitional setup thing.
Yeah, it felt almost in the way. It felt like they had storylines that were working and were moving towards something. And we said, stop, like a train. It just had to stop at this one station and then get everyone off, get everyone back on, and then let's take off on the train again. That's what Survivor Series felt like to me. It just was almost a sore thumb in the storytelling of all of these wrestlers. No one benefited, I don't think, from having Survivor Series. Maybe Roman Reigns, maybe they'll do this, I'm the champion of champions, head of the table because I beat Drew McIntyre, ain't I the best kind of thing.
So
but
made Jey Uso come back, you know what I mean? Once again, no, I'm going to fucking make this right, that kind of stuff, yes. Again, just kind of spinning the wheels on this.
I agree.
Nothing else really stuck out to me on Survivor Series.
Yeah, and the Undertaker thing, I think, had good intentions. It was just clunky. So I actually enjoyed at the very start seeing all of these wrestlers come out, because it made me go like, I didn't realize Booker T and Undertaker would be so close. Like those two in my mind had some really fun matches on SmackDown over the championship, things of that nature. But I never knew, peeking behind the curtain, that they were close friends. I knew of the Godwins. I knew of Rikishi because of I knew of Godfather because of the BSK group and all that. But yeah, there was people in there that I was like, really? Him and Shane, I wouldn't have thought. Like, I know, again, they had their WrestleMania match.
The Godwins in 2020 was interesting. I was like, geez, look at these guys.
Yeah, they're still hanging on, literally. But then I thought you could have had The Undertaker interact with them. That would have been what I was looking forward to seeing. Who's he going to handshake with? Who's he going to hug? Who's he going to, bust some chops with when he has the microphone and they're all around him?
Not breaking character, though.
Well, but then why fucking do that?
Well, from now on, though, he's like, I think what he got at now is like he's laying the Undertaker to rest.
Ah, fuck. So we're getting Mark Calloway run?
Now, moving forward, nobody said the dead man retired, or the American Badass. That's what, nobody said the American Badass retired, right? No. I think when we see him in these moments, in these Hall of Fames, like he can now sit in the audience at the Hall of Fame as Mark Calloway, give a speech. He's not the dead man where he feels like he's got to be this mystique thing that he always strung. I feel like sometimes he just, when we said like somebody believes a little too much in their own, right? Which again, hey, look, The Undertaker is one of those people. I've talked about this phenomenon a lot of times with folks like Tom Cruise. The famous people that even famous people are like, holy shit, look who just walked in the room. Undertaker's that level in the pro wrestling industry. So there's not a whole lot of like people telling him no, or people telling him you look stupid in that shirt on the documentary. Undertaker, man, the whole thing just felt, I was like, guys, we're really milking this again, is what it felt like to me. Like, we're milking this again. We're milking this, and we're not even getting anything for it. Like, you're just going to stand in the ring. Like, why are we doing this again? We're going to do it again. This isn't it. We're going to do it again. I swear to God, we're going to do it again. Oh, yeah.
Side note, though, who did Kane lose a bet to have to go out there in full gimmick?
Why was he the only one? Why did he go out there in full gimmick? Was he ribbing The Undertaker? He's like, no, The Undertaker goes in fucking full gimmick all the time. His brother's going to be in full gimmick.
And maybe that's what it was, because Undertaker went out in full gimmick, and Kane would have been weird I guess you had corporate Kane, so he could have came out like that. But yeah, that was a weird spot for him as well.
He's a fucking mayor.
Yeah. God, Jesus. That guy's a mayor. Politics are doomed. Anyhow,
Rhino didn't, I think, get office, right? He won this primary or something, but
but he didn't win. Yeah. So yeah, that was Survivor Series. It happened. That was it. As I mentioned, though, on NXT, you had Kevin Owens filling in on commentary, and we also got a KO show. I thought this was great. I think they need to do more of that kind of business for NXT. If you're going to say, because one thing they keep mentioning every single time when they talk about roster moves is if someone goes from NXT, they get called up to the main roster. So if this is going to be still, even though it's on USA Network competing with AEW, your development league, the best parts of early NXT was Chris Jericho coming down and having a match with Bray Wyatt. Cesaro having a best 2 out of 3 falls with Sami Zayn. So get some of these main roster guys that are just spinning their wheels and have them do a KO show or whatever it is on NXT.
Here's what I would have done too in that moment is you're doing the whole KO show. We're not going to break down NXT step by step, but I love the whole gimmick, right? He's like, oh man, Leon, God, you said his name. Like, you're new to the business. I get it. You don't understand. You say somebody's name on one of these shows, they're going to come out. And he's like, 1, 2. I like that he was always wrong on the timing, right?
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3. Music hits. Oh shit, I was a little off, right? Like that. And then he was like, no. And I even he was like, no, this chair isn't for you. Like when whoever threw that one, Gargano threw his out, and he's like, "No, I just have a feeling," right? Because then he calls out fucking Damian Priest. But I like when the triple threat is called. I like that. I wish Kevin Owens would have been like, "Hey, since I'm here, Fatal 4-Way, right? Like, why not? Like, I'll go for it." And they'll be like, "Yeah, right?" Because he's not going to win the thing, but like now we're going to be like, "Oh shit, Kevin Owens," right?
Well, and if you do that with heels, for example, let's take it over to the women's division. Let's say Billie Kay comes up with her own talk show. And then Billie Kay on SmackDown takes up this talk show. She does it. It's great. Then she can take it down to NXT. To your point, she can say, hey, these three women want to do a triple threat match. Let's make it a 4-way match. And then she can take the pinfall. You advance the storyline to where it goes from the belt went from this person to this person, but the three people, none of them had to take a loss because they're so scared that people would look soft. So just have Billie Kay fucking lose the match.
Nobody on SmackDown cares that Kevin Owens lost
Yeah, no one cares in that regard. So that's where you could have these storyline advances, but everyone looks great, and then you get another payoff and a pop with the match.
I like when they were like, "Oh, if only we had our own version of Teddy Long."
Yeah, William Regal.
And then William Regal comes out and he throws in the playa at the end.
Yeah,
that was
nice great.
Touch.
It was a great touch. Although Teddy Long didn't make triple threat matches. He called for The Undertaker and he called for tag matches.
Tag team match.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, ourselves a tag team match, right. And
little detail there,
one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yeah, that was his two lines there. So NXT was really good. You got to see the Undisputed Era. Again, you got Kyle O'Reilly in that ladder match, which he was awesome. That was brutal.
Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly tried to murder each other.
To the point that, again, Kevin Owens was giggling of how violent it was.
Yeah. Pete Dunne. So Pete Dunne and Kyle, when I heard it was those two, I was like, oh, holy fuck. Like this, they're going hard for this match. And I like that Undisputed Era didn't win this advantage match they were undefeated in. Mm-hmm. This is good. This match is going to be great. This War Games match with Pat McAfee involved and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is the shit. Pete Dunne is so fucking good and just mean and nasty. And he also, you just look at him and you're like, I don't want to like that guy. But you do like, it's weird. Pete Dunne. Yeah. Pete Dunne is got some. He's money, dude. Pete Dunne. Pete
like
Dunne. Fucking Pete Dunne. I forgot. Like Pete Dunne when Pat McAfee brought him back in this thing, I was like, fucking. Every time I see Pete Dunne, I'm like, that guy's gonna fucking kill somebody on live TV, and I'm gonna watch it. Yes.
Pete Dunne.
Pete fucking Dunne.
Yeah.
Hey.
I love it. Pete Dunne. For as much as you love Pete Dunne transitioning out of NXT, this week I loved Matt Riddle. I think Matt Riddle is the best combination of in-ring, I'm going to kick your ass, and then out of ring almost breaks MVP.
Dude, that was so great. First of all, pizza yogurt.
Yeah.
That was so great. Yeah, and his MVP
I'm not
to
your
his
bro.
credit, man. He literally was like, you son of a bitch. Right? Like, so good. God, that was great. Yes, you're right. Raw's a better place for this Matt Riddle, Steve-O pothead character, and I'm here for it.
Well,
I want to hear his pitch to the Hurt Business of all of his ideas. Like, I want a boardroom setting where they're sitting there in suits looking great, and he's in there in some flip-flops, and they're going to be like, what in the like MVP's going to be tripping out about his flip-flops the whole time. It's going to be great television. I want to see that.
Yeah. Matt Riddle just does this so great because, again, he has credibility in ring. First off, his style just lends himself to that hard-nosed, mat-based style. And then if we're doing this as a shoot, we can look to his UFC career where he's really knocked some motherfuckers out. So it reminds me of Kurt Angle and the little cowboy hat, where Kurt Angle's doing the little cowboy hat, or he dresses up as the Undertaker with the sunglasses and the bandana shit, or when he lost his hair and he was doing the wig with the wrestlers, headgear and stuff. But then in ring, like, you're not fucking up Kurt Angle. And in ring, you're not going to fuck up Matt Riddle. But Matt Riddle just is this dopey, like, I know it was dopey for dope. And then also he's kind of a space cadet there. But it's just so funny. He has some of that, I think, a great pairing for just a one-off. One of those special shows, a Royal Rumble. Yeah, a Royal Rumble. I just want to see R-Truth and Matt Riddle in the ring together at the same time. They should be number 1 and 2, where they're just like kind of tickling each other because they think it's funny. Maybe R-Truth again thinks it's a ladder match, and Matt Riddle like is helping him hold the ladder and like climb up, and there's nothing there. Like those two guys would be funny,
bro.
And then R-Truth is like, I thought this was a ladder match. Why wouldn't you help me? He's like, I thought I was, man. I didn't know what you were doing. Yeah,
I thought maybe you were trying to get a better view, bro.
Yeah. He just does this so well. And yeah, the moment of Raw was the almost breaking of MVP because I thought he had it when he was just like, oh.
Yeah.
He's great. I love Matt Riddle.
So heartfelt. He was like, oh.
Well, because he's probably genuine. I don't think that was in the script. That's probably why it almost made MVP break because he was like, oh.
Yeah.
Man. I don't think anyone told Matt Riddle that he would say that, so that was a genuine reaction.
Yeah. I like where they went with Lana Soul Survivor. We thought Lana was going to win, but this is kind of better. She's still just kind of hapless, like, oh, shucks, me? What I want them to do with this, where she's just like, oh, I'm the Soul Survivor. Like, oh, oops. This whole, like, championship match like opportunity came too soon, right? Like it should have just been this like, oh oops, a few more of these like, oops, I'm here, and everybody's like, no, you suck, you're just lucky, right? And she gets her world title shot and she fucking crushes it. She's like fucking Hurricane Rana. Yeah. I don't know what her skill set actually is, right? Like I wish this was all a ruse to have it be like, oh fuck, Lana's good now, but I don't know that we're gonna get that. So I don't know where they wind up with this. I feel like it's just kind of like they got a wild idea and they don't know where they're gonna end. So we'll see.
Yeah, like, does she win the Royal Rumble? Royal Rumble's in January. That's not too far away.
Could.
Because, well, and again, she may have a make good because if you flash back to 2 Royal Rumbles ago, she was the one injured that Becky Lynch ended up taking her spot. She actually never entered into that match. Is this now the payoff from that moment 2 years ago? Where she says, hey, you assholes, I was never given that opportunity. You gave it to Becky Lynch on the drop of a hat because you wanted her in there. I want my opportunity, and I want to be 30.
Alexa Bliss put this Nikki Cross thing to bed, did she? Like kind of played the whole like, oh, my God, what's going on? I'm sorry, I didn't realize. And then whap, little ovarian delight.
Yeah. Although I kind of feel like that may be too quick. You know? I feel as if where I wanted the storyline to go is to play more mind games with Nikki Cross, where she did that during the match where I don't know what I'm doing. Have that, like, take that out of a match and do that backstage where Nikki Cross is like, hey, like, you know,
got hope.
Right. Yeah. You're not Bray Wyatt's, friend. You're my friend. And then Alexa Bliss is like, yeah, of course. Hey, we should get dinner tonight. And then Nikki Cross gets in her car. Someone else is driving. It takes her. They drive her off of a cliff, or not. Maybe that's too much, but you know what I'm saying. Like she ends up scared for her life.
Restaurant.
Yeah,
and
or she's just scared for her life.
One of the puppets is the waiter, and she's like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Right, and runs off. And then the next week, she's like, hey, what happened to dinner? And Alexa Bliss is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I owe it to you again this time.
I waited for you at the restaurant. You never
showed. And then, right, and we could have done this weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have made, Bray Wyatt likes to bring in caricatures of other people, right? There's the Vince McMahon character. For a hot second, there was the Paul Heyman Walrus. Yes. I thought it would have been cool if you would have played these mind games with Nikki Cross, just string her out with the wrong restaurant stuff. And then Nikki Cross you bring in a Nikki Cross puppet and kill her like they did the frog, the friendship frog. And then Nikki Cross is like, hold up, is this bitch going to kill me?
It's a voodoo doll shit? What are you doing? Yeah.
Right. And
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I was the nut. And then you have the payoff at a pay-per-view. But here's the point. just as Bray Wyatt, when he touches anyone, they revert course, right? They just completely change who they are. Seth Rollins went from babyface to Messiah. Finn Balor went from Raw to NXT, all of that stuff. Then Nikki Cross goes into what she was, Insanity, where she's a fucking manic and she's running into the ropes. She can't hold her fucking excitement. She's just a psychopath. Tasmanian Devil. Yeah, she's done. And that's Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt have this touch on the roster. Mm-hmm. That's what I would want.
I like that. I also like where they went with this whole, okay, so Team Raw, you guys clean sweep. So you guys and Randy Orton, the guy who was the previous title and didn't get his rematch, you guys are going to do this like square off, earn your way into a triple threat next week to see who. Like, I like this. These little mini tournaments, these kind of things. AEW did a little mini tournament. Mm-hmm. The world title eliminator get his Kenny Omega. These things are great. These make sense, right? Here's like, it makes sense, right? These 5 guys earn themselves a shot. Well, how do we take care of 5 guys? He's also got a rematch.
Well, hold on. There's only 4.
Oh.
If you recall, Braun Strowman headbutt Adam Pearce and he got suspended.
Sure, right.
So what happens there? Does he cause this war path of, okay, Braun, fuck it, fine. You know what? Just stop beating up our staff. You get the title shot. Like, just fuck it. You and Drew McIntyre at TLC. And then it's a TLC match, Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre. Huh? I mean, because, right, the 4 guys, they each had a match, and so they're the 2, and then you get Randy Orton, you get the victor, and then maybe make it a triple threat where it's, I won't be, Randy Orton lost. So it's AJ Riddle. Styles. It's AJ Riddle and Keith Lee.
Yeah, I think, right?
Yeah.
Keith Lee.
Yeah. So let's get AJ Styles to win that match. And then at TLC for the championship, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman TLC match. That's what happens. Book it.
So, I mean, Raw, anything else stick out? Or SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, WWE before we move into our contributor
No, not necessarily. No, yeah, let's move into the contributor portion of the Spanish announce table proper.
All right, so again, use hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter. Follow us at Table Show. I'm at The Awesome Boys. He's at TMac816 _ right? TMac
_
816. Mm-hmm. And, use hashtag Tweet the Table when you're thinking about wrestling, when you're watching wrestling, when you want to share your thoughts with the world, the Table Nation, as it were. And we're going to read some here. I've got 10. It is from 4 different folks this week, right? We're hoping to get some more before we're rebuilding this segment. And I've got an email, kind of. We'll get into that. You want me to save the email for last?
Yeah, we typically do that.
All right. We're going to go through the Tweet the Tables here. Let's start with this Undertaker stuff we talked about. So I'm going to read a couple different folks commented on it, so we'll get the different views and we'll kind of comment, right? Mm-hmm. Let me find it here. All right. So at Theo75 says, with the Undertaker retiring, the Attitude Era is done. Rest in peace, Attitude Era. Thank you, Taker. Hashtag Tweet the Table. Triple H is still going.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It ain't. Triple H is still there for his 1 match a year kind of bullshit. Oh, and Edge.
BDD4. Huh?
Well, and Edge is still there. Edge is an attitude guy. I consider him an attitude guy. So, yeah.
At BDD4 says, yeah, I have 0 feels right now for this Undertaker thing. Should have been over that night when Roman beat him. Plus, it's weird without fans. Thanks, COVID. Hashtag Tweet the Table.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's...
what are you going to do? Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I mean, fucking... That's not his fault, right? Like, I get it. But it is the for as much as the last 10 years of his career was kind of bullshit with some of those stinkers and especially the Goldberg matches and things of that nature, the Boneyard match was the perfect ending for his career. I did think the Boneyard match was perfect.
Yeah, well, and that'll wrap up our Undertaker talk here with at WIR Cat says, I just watched The Undertaker have a send-off and nobody interrupted to set up a match. So that's it, right? We don't need to see him anymore, right? No more fucking dragging his ass out for WrestleMania every year. No more matches. No more Sting versus Taker requests. Leave it there. Hashtag Tweet the Table. You see, this is the feeling we're getting. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, we're doing this again? Like, there is no final chapter. You're looking for the final chapter. There will never be it. We just got to stop.
Well, I think it's more because we've just been burned so many times in the past. I think that's where it comes from, not necessarily the story. It's, well, we know Vince is going to say, you want $6 million. And of course, you want $6 million or whatever the price tag is.
Yeah. Let's hit Theo 75 up. He's got the majority of these because he hammered them out. But there's a lot of good talking points that I want to get Tom's thoughts on.
Great job, Theo.
At Theo75 says, why does WWE keep Jerry Lawler employed? He's a black hole on commentary / talking, hashtag tweet table. Well, that's probably because of merch agreements are easier when they have a Legends deal with somebody.
And for as much as he's a black hole on commentary, let's say this. He's not as bad as Jim Ross at all. He does have some mishaps, but at least he sounds like he wants to be there, where Jim Ross sounds like he's just mad at the world. And when you are in a pinch and someone has COVID or something happens here, with this segment, he can be the host of a talk show. He can fill in on Raw. He can fill in on SmackDown. He's a great emergency option. So I will say it makes sense. It's not great, but it makes sense.
Well, he also says Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns was pure brutality made manifest. Awesome match. 8 out of 10. Hashtag tweet table. I don't think you need to say made manifest. I think that's the same thing.
Well, and I don't think it's 8 out of 10. I'd give that 6.
Yeah, I don't know. That match was a little boring. I like that in the face versus the heel match, they found a way for the heel to win. It was still cheating. The face looks, like he would have won. He got cheated, right? Okay. Good. He also says Sami Zayn is going to be the Fidel Castro of WWE. Hashtag tweet the table. Sure looks like it.
I love that. That was a highlight from Survivor Series. I did forget about that until just right now. The Hurt Business is going to fucking mess with me. This is a conspiracy. And Sami Zayn continually just running around like, no, see, he's going to fucking hurt me. He's going to hurt me. Ref. And then running up the ramp and purposely getting tripped by MVP, where MVP's like, I didn't touch you, asshole. He's like, yeah, you did. You totally did, you dickhead. I did like how Sami Zayn just instantly went in there and was like, everyone hates me here. And we're like, yeah, but we're still going to beat you up. He's like, no. I'm a martyr. I like Sami Zayn's character. It's really well done. One thing I did want to bring up, though, going back to Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, that felt like a big match, champion versus champion. But this is how exhausting WWE storyline is that was a WrestleMania match, and I forgot it was a fucking WrestleMania match. When Roman Reigns came back from his leukemia, that was his first feud. I totally fucking forgot about it because it's just, we churned through 10 million stories in 1 month. Anyhow, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember what WrestleMania matches are anymore, unless there was like a big time storyline or major event attached to it. Because, like you said, everything's churned through. Like it's a WrestleMania match. Well, yeah, because we've seen these guys wrestle 5,000 times. At Theo75 one more time says the Street Profits versus the New Day is napalm. Hashtag tweet the table.
It was good. I thought it was really done well. But again, there was no payoff. As mentioned, we're recording this while SmackDown is going on, so maybe there's some type of payoff with Big E telling the Street Profits, hey, you couldn't beat my friends twice or something like that, or the Street Profits rubbing it in Big E's face and that makes him snap. But there was no storyline to it, so it's forgettable in the long term.
I think you're right. There's this Angelo Dawkins guy might have. Like we may be talking about him in the future in a couple of years. Like he might be the guy out of the Street Profits that is the money, right? As opposed to the Angelo Dawkins, right? Or what is Angelo Dawkins versus Montez Ford, excuse me.
Montez Ford, you're saying that Angelo Dawkins, like the cool guy, is the money in it.
Right. He's the guy who's going to be the star long term. But he's going to be the guy who's going to have the Kane-like career, right? Where we're like, man, this guy.
Montez Ford, though, I think his star is going to burn so quickly because it's just like the promo he cut before the New Day match talking about The Undertaker was just like, calm the fuck down, man. You're making me anxious.
A little hot, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. At BDD4 says Roman is undoubtedly 100% the head of the table. Loving this new Roman. Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, I love the backstage when he was upset with Jey Uso and the way he rationalized all that. And he's like, look, if they don't If they can't respect you, they can't respect me. If they can't respect me, then they, you know what I mean? Like, just his whole, like, and I love how he, like, sent Jimmy off. He's like, no, you can go.
Yeah.
You're staying
That was
right
the
here.
part. And Jimmy went. It wasn't like Jimmy said, no, man, I'm staying here. He's like, okay, hey, we're cool. I'm out of here. I just wonder who's going to be the one that sticks up for Jimmy. Or, excuse me, who sticks
For
up for
Jay.
Jay? Is there
Yeah,
going to be
it's weird.
someone? Or does Jay say, like, stay out of it? I'll fucking fight my own battles. It's going to be interesting where it could be Daniel Bryan. I don't know.
They keep booking Jay hot, man. They are like, everybody's working for Jay, dude. Everybody's selling for this guy.
He's great.
It's interesting because, like, I mean, it's the Usos, and for all we know, like, both are still going to be around. I didn't think Jimmy's out forever, right? Like, he didn't have a career-ending injury that I'm aware of. So it's interesting that all this attention is on Jay, but, like, I'm here for it. He's good. He's taking it well. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I just wonder, not necessarily where the end is, but you can only do so much of Roman psycho fucks, mind fucks Jay to get him to do his stuff for him. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder who's going to step up and help Jay psychologically.
So maybe you pause that, let him grow his thing, run the tribe for a while, whatever we call it, right? The family, right? And then, like, you revisit, like, that's how he treats Jay, and then have that payoff when Jay's finally breaking off of a longer term storyline, right?
Right.
Maybe, yeah. All right, at WI Arcata says, I'd love to see Lashley as the WWE champ, MVP as the U.S. champ, and Shelton and Cedric as tag champs. You'll see them taking all the titles on Raw, like running the Hurt Business running Raw.
MVP as U.S. champ, I'm not too into. The last time that I can remember when we talked about Impact Wrestling being anything of need to watch kind of content was when Bobby Lashley was champion and he was doing those pull-ups and MVP, and I think it was who was the guy? Now he's in Ring of Honor. I can't even think of his fucking name. But when MVP was talking about how Bobby Lashley, look at this fucking Greek god. Like, that's the Bobby Lashley with MVP as his talking piece that I want to see as champion. It's just, Bobby doesn't even talk. He almost does Brock Lesnar type things where he's just fucking, I don't know, squat thrusting fucking rings and shit. And MVP's like, can you believe it? Money is booming, and just fucking awesome.
All right, final one at Theo75.
Kenny King. That was his fucking name. I couldn't
Kenny
think of his
King,
name.
yep.
Kenny King. Okay.
At Theo75 rounds out our hashtag Tweet the Table. And remember, you too can get in on the conversation with the Table Nation for Pro Wrestling's Best Podcast, the Spanish Announce Table. Use hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter. Theo75 says, hopefully we will get more Don West making cameos on the Spanish Announce Table. Hashtag Tweet the Table.
I tell you what, here we go. We got free shirts. We got 2 for 1 on this Thanksgiving special. We're going to give you all the table show shirts you can ask for. I tell you what, and if you don't like that, I've got a cannon that'll shoot it in your asshole. Don West here, TNA all the way. Hey, where's Mike today? Mike.
You sound exactly like Don West.
Hey, guys, I tell you what, this is some great action.
God.
I can't believe it. Abyss with the big power slam on AJ Styles. Oh, my God, is that James Storm walking out? Oh, I tell you what, Jeff Jarrett in the asylum.
Chris Harris. All right. All right, we've got an email.
God, he was the worst.
tableshow@gmail.com.
Hold on.
And
He was the fucking worst.
Yeah, Don West was bad.
How did that motherfucker have a job speaking into a microphone? Jesus Christ. Okay.
It was real bad. We have an email, and we don't really have an email. All right, so we have an email, but we don't. If you want to email the show, right? Tweet the Table was fun. We just went through those, but if you can't abridge your conversation into whatever the character limit is now,
160.
you can send us an email. tableshow@gmail.com. If you forget that, you can go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. There's a contact link right at the top. There's a little contact form. It'll send us the email. I copy and pasted a YouTube comment that I had missed that we should address into that and send it to our emails. So we have an email from a YouTube page called My Block Strongest Man. My Block Strongest Man is a YouTube page who is a loyal listener to the show, is a fan of our show. He also has a YouTube page called My Block Strongest Man, where he goes around showing folks how, hey, you can keep motivated, you can keep working out, you can kind of keep, you know what I mean, you can still lift stuff around, you can find ways to work out with stuff you have around you, right? My Block Strongest Man. So check him out. He follows us, subscribes to us, check him out.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
And he said, we had discussed Kenny Omega in one of the videos, and he said, I've heard Kenny Omega referred to as the best wrestler in the world over the last few years, and I'm interested in your take on how that is calculated, in quotations. Only in terms of in-ring performance. Right? For example, I would say Bret Hart is my favorite in-ring performer of all time because his moveset wasn't too outlandish, but still spectacular. The crisp punching was a sight to behold, and I think his selling was great. But the vast majority of the wrestling community would rate Shawn Michaels above him. Maybe you can respond here, or maybe an idea for a future video. I don't know if my Block Strongest Man has been a long-time listener of this show to know where we fall on Bret Hart.
That guy. Oh, I tell you what. Why do I gotta always be underneath Shawn Michaels? That guy. I don't even want to talk about him. He was a dick.
So, now, Bret Hart, we think was a bit of a whiny crybaby.
He was this.
We think he was also one of the guys who likes to smell his own farts. I think that we alluded to earlier. I don't think we verbalized it in that terms. Mm-hmm. But, look, he was what they used to brag about. He was Germany's favorite athlete running 4 years in a row or whatever, right? Like, you know, he was not bad. He was definitely one of the best in the business at the time at what he did. The Hart family, its lineage, its athletic prowess can't be denied, right? We're not going to deny that. But the reason we would play Shawn Michaels is because, again, we watch the performance art of professional wrestling. And there are, I might put 50 people before Bret Hart in the performance art of professional wrestling in a well-rounded aspect. Kenny Omega would be on that list of 50 people above Bret Hart. I don't know that I would call Kenny Omega the best in the world, but he's probably one of the top 10, and I would just have to say that because, like, I don't know him as well as I know some others because he wasn't on U.S. television for a large portion of that time. What do you think here?
Well, here's this. I struggle with this a lot. I struggle with it a ton because while I don't necessarily want to watch Elegante taking on Undertaker at WrestleMania, right? At WrestleMania 9 or WrestleMania, whatever it was. We don't fact check here. But or Great Khali versus Undertaker is not a fucking entertaining match. So there has to be some barrier of quality pro wrestling, right? But I don't watch pro wrestling for the pro wrestling, if that makes sense. One of my all-time favorites, if you were to look at my top 5 favorites, a lot of them are basic wrestlers. Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels had his stuff, but what they got you to the ring was everything else. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon was dog shit wrestling at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but I tell you fucking what, I was glued to my fucking TV and on the edge of my seat. Right, the NWO. None of that fucking wrestling was good.
None of it was good.
But I watched each week because wrestling to me there is an aspect of in the ring. You ring the bell, you wrestle. But anyone, especially in 2020, anyone can. There's no move that, let's just say AJ Styles is considered the greatest, right? There's no move in 2020 that AJ Styles is doing that the Regal Twins also can't do.
Right.
And the Regal Twins
isn't doing.
Yeah, that Top Flight isn't doing. And they're not on your fucking television, the Regal Twins. They're on New Japan, which you should definitely check it out. But what I'm saying, they're not on Raw, they're not on SmackDown, but they can do move for move everything that AJ Styles is doing. So again, to me, wrestling is more than just you ring the bell, you do some moves, someone gets a win, someone gets a loss. It's promos. It's advancements of storytelling. It's what you do post-match. It's what you do pre-match. It's your entrance. It's the whole thing. That's why Bret Hart, to what you were saying, to back up what you said, he's not even in my top 20. he has some amazing matches that I really like watching. The one with Mr. Perfect, the one with Shawn Michaels. I mean, there's dozens of Shawn Michaels ones. The ones with Undertaker, the ones
His
that
brother.
even have, Owen Hart, the ones at WrestleMania 10 or the one at WrestleMania 10. So I'm not saying like he's bad and I wouldn't rewatch his matches, but I've never went back and said, you know what fucking promo you got to hear from Bret Hart, other than the one where he got mad and he just started doing WCW and spitting at things. That was a shoot, right? But like, pro wrestling is more than just, can he do an Irish whip? Can he do an arm drag? Like, fuck off. They can all do that shit. Can he fucking get me into the building? Can he make me want to tune in? You know? MJF right now, to me, is way better than AJ Styles. And I love AJ Styles. Longtime listeners know exactly how much I love him. But if you say, hey, next up after the commercial break, it's AJ Styles on Raw or on NXT, and next up on AEW Dynamite, it's MJF, I'm going to go to
Ditto.
MJF.
Ditto.
That
Without
is
a
what,
second thought. Without
Yeah.
even...
and
Even
again,
if it wasn't announced, if they were like, AJ Styles is going to be on NXT, you'd be like, what? And they were like, MJF's going to be on AEW. Like, well, I'll watch AEW.
MJF. I'm going to MJF. And again, and if it's a match, it's a promo, whatever it is, I know MJF is going to be entertaining. And that's what I get at with like these people with the ratings of matches and who the fuck cares about them? Like, again, not who the fuck cares, but like the match is one aspect of pro wrestling. You got to do it all to me, pal. Like you gotta fucking bring the whole picture in. Britt Baker,
It is one act of the theater.
Exactly. Another great
One
example.
act of the play. Yeah.
Britt Baker. I am tuning in 10 times out of 10 for a Britt Baker segment over any King Corbin
The waiting
segment.
room.
Yeah.
The waiting room. We forgot to talk about that. That's a
Yeah,
great,
on Dark.
like where it's like a Piper's Pit versus like the Britt Baker waiting room is money. I will tune into that before I'll turn into a Britt Baker match.
Well, but even if you say Britt Baker's wrestling, I'm going to say something's going to happen here. If you tell me, again, another great example of what I'm trying to convey to the audience here that's listening is if you say a Britt Baker match is going up against a New Day tag team match, I'm going Britt Baker 10 times out of 10 in November 2020 because it's more entertaining. I do not care that you're going to see a 650 frog splash blockbuster as the finisher. I want to see something that gets me invested. And that's what I wish people would understand, at least for me.
Another aspect of what you're talking about where, like you said, AJ Styles can do all these moves. Kofi can do all these moves, but so can any independent wrestler that we've seen. Also, Kofi can do all the moves, but I've seen all the moves. Nobody's shown me a move that I haven't seen, I think, in 5+ years. Like, are we like... I mean, seriously, it is in some form of variation. Everything's been done. Right?
Yeah.
Everything's been done. You might come new variation of a neck breaker pile driver, but it's just that. Right? Like, we've already done everything we can do. So you have to give me a reason to care about who's winning and who's losing. And that's where Bret Hart didn't do a whole lot of that for me, ever.
Yeah, because they were just really entertaining matches. Cool, great. I'm kind of done. But Stone Cold Steve Austin would give you right hands, a stunner, and then yell in your face. But then he would get jumped, or he would then pour beer on someone.
He might throw a belt off a bridge, or he might.
Yeah, there was things, and that's what pro wrestling is. It's way more than just in-ring work rate. I don't give a flying fuck about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's important, and it matters.
Again,
but
going back to what I initially said, there's a huge difference between Khali and Undertaker fucking walking around on stilts and some real shit there. So I'm saying you have to have a certain caliber of coherent wrestling, but once you've reached that, and again, most people have, you got to do the rest of the shit.
Yeah. So that was our emails, tableshow@gmail.com. You see why this is great, though? We got a deep conversation about Bret Hart that we would not have gotten about. And check out World's Strongest Man, or my blog Strongest Man, excuse me, not Mark Henry. He's this blog Strongest Man. Mm-hmm. Mark Henry doesn't live on his block, from what I'm to understand. If he does, you might need to change your YouTube title name. But check him out. Check us out. We're on the YouTube also, SpanishAnnounceTable.net for all the links, all our social medias, our TikToks, our Twitters, our Facebooks. follow us all over the place. Follow us all over the place. Give us money. Donate through the PayPal. Buy some stuff on our merch link, right? I mean, just give us money.
Buy some merchandise. Yeah, buy some merchandise.
Money.
No, buy some merchandise and take a picture if you're wearing it, or if you give it as a gift and they wear it. Let us know.
You don't even have to buy our branded merchandise. I've got some suggestion ads up on the webpage of some stuff you can buy on Amazon, or there's an Amazon link where you can go buy anything you want, and we'll get a kickback from that too. But our merchandise is up there as well.
Yeah, buy our shit.
Our stuff looks cooler than anything you're going to find on Amazon.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yep.
Anything. So buy that, and I guess see us next week, right?
Happy Thanksgiving.
The Spanish announce table.